So quickly, before we dive into the panelists we have today, we're doing a bit of a giveaway, which is for anyone who asks questions. We want you to ask questions. At the end, there'll be a chance for you to sort of ask a question, and we may pick some of those to ask. There's two different functions. There's the chat function, there's the question function. Please use the question function. Chat function for comments, feedback is great. The panelists will see that, but use the question function at the bottom to ask a question. And we're going to give away books from Valerie Kaur, See No Stranger. It's a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love. Valerie is an activist, a human rights lawyer, and someone I met this morning only on Zoom. And I only came across her this morning, and I was blown away by her story and the power and impact she has. So we'll be giving copies of her book away for anyone who asks great questions. So we've got Simranpreet Singh Oberoi, who's the founder of Punjab Youth Leaders Program, Daman Thandi, who's at Cage, and I'll get her to talk a bit more about that, and Amy Singh, and she's at Cross Connection Poetry, but is also involved in, she's a teacher and is also an activist, and she does a lot of philanthropic work as well. She's raised thousands of dollars for people in need. And Amitoj Singh, who is an entrepreneur and who runs co-working spaces, Space Jam in Chandigarh. All of our speakers today are based in Chandigarh. So I guess I want to start with, what problem did you see that prompted you to start your respective organizations? And I will start with perhaps Amy.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for putting this together. I think being a woman in India and being told and made to feel like public spaces are not for you, like you don't belong there, and if you will go out there, you probably end up feeling quite unsafe, which is also true. I always had questions that why not, in terms of street performances, in terms of protests, in terms of any kind of public gatherings in a public space. I would only see men, and I would not see women, and it would somehow just bother me. When I started reading my poetry, performing my poetry as a spoken word poet, it was going great, and I would feel like, yes, it's a good thing that I get to connect with an audience inside of four walls of an auditorium or a cafeteria or a club. But really, my heart was just out there wondering, what if I were to do this on a roadside, or maybe in a parking lot, or in a park? Why not on a bus station, in a metro station? Why not? So yeah, following that curiosity and going out there with lots of faith and lots of love, I started randomly just started performing poetry in public spaces. And I was surprised and I was amazed that the whole notion about that women do not belong in public spaces and the women cannot own the public spaces, or the women are always unsafe in public spaces, just crashed for me. And then there was no looking back. In the last 3-4 years that I've been performing poetry in public spaces, it all came from that one issue that came to my side, that okay, women do belong there and we need to reclaim these spaces. Nobody can tell us that sit home and do your thing, or come to a club and do your gig and go home, because like anybody else, we can very much stand wherever we want to and perform, say, speak our hearts, sing a song, do theater, whatever. And this all started, and that's how I launched Cross Connection Poetry, which is a street poetry initiative. And through that, I performed in, not only me, but many fellow poets under that initiative, under that umbrella. I have performed in various cities in Chandigarh, in Punjab, and we look forward to doing that. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thanks for sharing that. And I want to share one more thing about Amy. I did a podcast recording with her, and she's shared with me that she was one of the people, others responsible for getting Google Maps to change the name of Geri Route to Azadi Route after women were being molested, and it was considered a pastime in Punjab. So it's really making image change, and I think she undersells herself a lot. She's been featured by major newspapers across India. She's got a TEDx talk, and she's just a phenomenal poet. Thanks, Amy, for sharing that. Amigos, do you want to share a little bit more about uh, what got you started with Space Jam?
Hi Daisy, thank you for having me. You know, I felt there was a lack of startup ecosystem in Chandigarh, despite Chandigarh having one of the highest literacy rates in India, highest per capita income in India, and again highest number of schools, colleges, other institutions per capita, and again, another data, highest number of banks and ATMs per capita. Apart from that, it's a beautiful city, a lot of young people. And when I saw all this data, and there was zero startup activity over here, I was like, there is some link missing. I spoke to a few people, I spoke to some young people, and I realized that the missing ingredient was an ecosystem where these startups could come, they could talk to each other, they could get some mentorship, they could get investments. So these are the foundation years of a startup. It's like a child. I realized, from year 1 to year 10, that's the time when a child needs maximum nourishment. Otherwise, there are going to be permanent deficiencies. Similarly, at this age, at this time frame of the startup, from going from an incubation stage to say stage one, when they start raising money, most of these startups fail, and that's because of not their idea. It's because of simple things like administrate, how to get their companies registered, how to find a co-founder, some legal stuff, how to draft contracts, some IPR stuff, intellectual property rights. So they just keep battling with this kind of stuff, and they cannot focus on their core idea. So that was the ecosystem that I thought is needed here, so we can take care of all the other problems, and a startup can purely focus on their idea. So that led me to actually creating this ecosystem, Space Jam. And Space Jam alone is not the solution to Chandigarh's ecosystem problem. Nonetheless, we are a small step towards the right direction. Since the day we've opened, it's been about 3 years. There have been more than 20 co-working spaces that have sprouted in and around Chandigarh, and housing more than 400 startups. And I have personally seen so many companies, more than 30 companies, that have literally survived because of this ecosystem. If this ecosystem just did not exist, these people would be struggling, or they would be just trying to just get out of Chandigarh, trying to get to Canada, US, or just Bangalore.
And we'll that too at the end, right? I want to know why you stayed in Chandigarh as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is I'm trying to prevent brain drain, because a lot of these people at Space Jam, if they didn't have this place, they would be out in Bangalore or Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Exactly. So they've built teams, and this was the ecosystem that I always wanted. And we're nowhere close to Bangalore, Australia, Canada. But yes, in 5 years, I can guarantee you that Chandigarh will be like a little hub that will leave its mark in India.
And it will, because people like you are building it, and that's what counts. So thank you so much, Amitos, for sharing that. Daman, I'd love to move to you about what inspired you to start, I guess, Cage, and the work that you do that you'd like to share with us today.
Hi, everyone. I'll begin by thanking you, Daisy, for putting this together. Let me tell you firstly what Cage stands for. It's Community of Advocates for Gender Empowerment. It's basically a community built on the shoulders of some incredible people, including Amy, who's on this panel with us. So how this all began was the Cage team took note of the fact that although there was incredible work going on in gender space in Punjab, Northwest India, everyone was working in silos and they didn't know each other. The Cape Secretariat then came together to change this. We now provide a platform that brings together a small community of leading voices in gender programming. We How we convene is in the form of meetings. We take on locally relevant topics, highlight local initiatives advancing gender equality, and we basically, our aim is to strengthen their advocacy, leadership, leverage cross-sectoral work, and build social transformation for our community. That is the basic, understanding of what CAGE does, and I'll build more on this during our conversation ahead.
What first was the pivotal moment for you that kind of said, yes, this is the work I want to do, for you personally?
It was meeting these incredible folks in Chandigarh who were not connected to each other. They were working on amazing, incredible initiatives. This includes someone like, I think you've met Lisa, who does some fantastic work in the social space. There's people in academia. There's people like the former mayor of Chandigarh who's done some incredible work on gender empowerment. And these are all people existing in silos. They did not know each other. And that is just the premise we had, that let's put a space together, a platform which connects everyone so everyone can work together on bringing systematic change.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, because I think that purpose and that motivation is so important and it's so strong for all of you guys. So I really want to touch on that. Simranpreet, I'd love to know what motivated you to start Punjab Youth Leaders Program.
Yeah, thank you, Daisy. Great to be here and share. So I was actually born in Agra and raised in a bunch of different places: Delhi, Agra, Ahmedabad, Lucknow, and even college was in Maharashtra, and then worked in Bombay and Delhi, Bihar, all these places. So never really got a chance to live in Punjab. And I think all I had was these stories and these imagery of, how things would be in Punjab. And much of, those stories were quite rosy in nature, like, it's full of prosperity and like social harmony, very strong community feeling. So, but I think what I didn't know was these images were probably dated, like 2-3 decades dated. And as, a few years ago, I became more aware and traveled across the region, met several people who have been working on the ground to really understand what's been going on. And, and how the issues of unemployment, issues of farmers are so real and so hard hitting. And I think of all of these, what has personally been most painful for me is like when I see a child, who's not getting an adequate environment, an adequate support group around him or her to help the child realize his or her full potential. So I think this is what made really clear for me a couple of things. One, Punjab definitely needs much better. What all that is going on, the scenario cannot be like this with the kind of rich heritage that this land has. And the kind of people who have walked on this land, I think it deserves much better. And a lot of young people need to be a part of this journey of change, and we need to create platforms for them to engage in this process. And because of personal interest and passion for education, and also if you have to think long term, and if commit next 2-3 decades for this region, let's start from the basics and let's start from the foundation. And that was education. And that's where, Punjab Youth Leaders Program decided to focus on. So, yeah, that's how it really shaped.